All right, hi everybody. This is your solutions video for your Unit 5 practice test. Use this to help you get prepared for our upcoming test on Unit 5 and the Pythagorean theorem. Let's get right into it with number 1. Which of the following is not true about the sides of a right triangle? The hypotenuse is always opposite the right angle. That is true. All right, if you have a right triangle, here's the right angle. All right, the hypotenuse will always be directly across from there. So that is a true statement. The legs form the right angle. That is true. This is one leg, and that's another leg. The hypotenuse is there. So that's true. The hypotenuse is always shorter than at least one leg. That is your false. All right, the hypotenuse will always be the longest side of your right triangle, which is actually D. So that one is true. So C is the correct answer there for not being true. Find X, the missing side length in the right triangle. So you can see that's directly across from the right angle, so that's the hypotenuse, so that is C. So when we do a squared plus b squared equals c squared, we're going to have 21 squared plus b squared. We're looking for a A or a B. I'm just making it B. And then 29 goes in for C. 21 squared is 441. And then you have b squared. 29 squared is 841. So we want to solve this for B. So we're going to subtract 441. And we have b squared equals 400. So b is the square root of 400, which is 20. So 20 units. Three, which of the following could be the areas of the three squares shown? The three squares shown are over here. So these are the areas. Remember, so a squared plus b squared equals c squared. All right, if this is A, this side length is A, and this is B, and this is C. All right, the area for 2 is A squared. The area for B is B squared. And the area for C is C squared. So these are all square feet, so these are all different areas. So what we're looking for are two areas that add together to equal the largest one. So in this case, we have 45. If you do 35 plus 25, you get 60, all right, not 45. So it's not A. 12 plus 12 is 24, not 144, so it's not B. All right, the largest one here is 25. 9 plus 16 is 25, so that would work. So if this was 9 and that's 16, if we add up those two areas, that would equal 25. So that would be a right triangle. So C is your correct answer there. Find the perimeter of the isosceles right triangle. So we have two sides. We need to figure out what this side is. We know that this is 9 feet. This whole thing is 80 feet. So half of it would be 40. So we have 9 feet and then 40 feet. And we're looking for a C. So A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So that's going to be 9 squared plus 40 squared equals C squared. So 9 squared is 81. 40 squared is 1600. And then C squared, when we add those together, we get 1681. So C is the square root of 1681. When we do that, we get 41. So if that's 41, then this side is 41, and then this side is 80. So we want to add all those up. We have 41 plus 80. And that is 162 feet. All right, that would be the perimeter distance around the whole triangle. Five, the length of a rectangular frame is 12 inches and the width is 5 inches. What is the length of the diagonal of this frame in inches? So the length is 12. All right, the width is 5. All right, what is the diagonal here? So we're looking at a right triangle. So we have a squared plus b squared is c squared. So 5 squared plus 12 squared is c squared. 25 plus 144 is c squared. 169 is c squared. So c is the square root of 169, which is 13 inches. A carpenter wants to make a triangular shelf with sides of 9, 12, and 15 inches. Can he make a right triangle with these lengths? Well, you have to know that 15 has to be C because that's the largest side. All right, so that gets you started off. Then you don't want to, you just want to put those numbers into, those values into the Pythagorean theorem to see if it works out. So we have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So we're going to do 9 squared plus 12 squared is c squared, or is 15 squared. So that is 81 plus 144. 15 squared is 225. Let's go up here. 81 plus 144 is 225. So 225 equals 225, so that does work out. So it is a right triangle, so we're going to circle yes, because 9 squared plus 12 squared equals 15 squared. All right, 7, during a baseball practice, Tim stands 27 feet directly north of Chris. So let's sketch this out. Let's have Chris here. Tim is here, north, and that's 27 feet right here. Leo stands 36 feet directly east of Chris. So Leo is over here. So this is 27. This is 36. If a ball is thrown from Tim to Leo, so it's going that diagonal path, so that's a hypotenuse there. And then from Leo to Chris, how many feet will the ball travel? Well, we know that it travels 36 feet this way. We need to find this C, so then the ball goes from here to there, and then we're going to total that up, not counting the 27 in our total. So we are looking for a C, so we have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So that's 27 squared plus 36 squared is c squared. 27 squared is 729. 36 squared is 1296. When we add those together, that's 2025. So then C is the square root of 2025, which is 45. All right, so when Tim throws the ball to Leo, it travels 45 feet. And then when Leo throws it to Chris, it travels 36 feet. So we want to do 45 plus 36. And that is 81 feet total. 8, an artist joined 3 square regions at the vertices to create the figure shown in the diagram. Which of the following statements is true, can be true? The number of tiles to cover region X is the same as the number of tiles needed to cover region Y and Z. Well, that doesn't make any sense because Y and Z are already bigger than X. So there's no way that the total of these two areas would equal that. So that's not true. The number of tiles needed to cover region Y is the same as the number of tiles X and Z. Well, Z is bigger than Y. All right, so that wouldn't work out. All right, so the last one, or it's none of these. All right, the number of tiles needed to cover region Z is the same as the number of tiles needed to cover X and Y. That does make sense because this is A squared and this is B squared, and then A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So that does work. So your correct answer here is C. 9, the diagram represents a side view of a roof in the shape of a right triangle. So we have A squared plus B squared equals C squared. We have 12 squared plus 16 squared equals C squared. So that's 144. 12 squared is 144. 16 squared is 256. Is C squared. When we total those up, 256 plus 144 is 400. So then C is the square root of 400. And the square root of 400 is 20 feet. So B. Ten, Alex walked from his school to the park. From school to the park. The diagram shows a top view of the locations of these three places and their distances from each other. So school, park, and home. School is 2.5 away from the park, and the park is 1.5 from his house. Which measurement is closest to the shortest distance from Alex's home to the school? So we're looking for that, which is a C. So we have A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So 2.5 squared plus 1.5 squared equals C squared. 2.5 squared is 6.25. 1.5 squared is 2.25. So 6.25 plus 2.25 is 8.5 as C squared. So then C is the square root of 8.5. Which is 2.915 going on from there. So which is closest to the distance? So not exactly, but close is B, 2.9 miles. All right, the measures here in number 11, there is a typo. The ladder says the ladder is 20 feet long and the bottom of the ladder is 8 feet from the wall. And you can see that's not true in the picture. So let's change this 20 to 13. And we're going to change this 8 to 5. Okay, so what is the total height of the wall? So the total height of the wall from here to here. So we have a right triangle here. The 13-foot ladder, 5 foot from the wall, and then it doesn't go all the way up the wall. It goes up to this point, and there's 2 feet above the ladder. So the wall is the entire thing. So we are looking for an A or a B. All right, they give us a C here with 13. So let's first do the Pythagorean theorem. We have A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So that is 5 squared plus B squared equals 13 squared. So that's 25 plus B squared equals 169. All right, we're going to subtract 25. And that is 144. So B squared, the square root of 144, is 12. All right, so that's the distance up the wall to this point. We have 12 here, but then there's 2 more feet there. All right, so what's the total height of the wall? We want to do 12 plus 2, so that will be 14 feet. All right, our last one is number 12. We have the distance between 2 points. It's a diagonal. We can't count the units this way, but we can sketch a right triangle here. And then attach it here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There. So we have an A and a B, and we're looking for C. So A squared plus B squared equals C squared. That's 7 squared plus 5 squared equals C squared. 49 plus 25 is C squared. 49 plus 25 is 74. So C is the square root of 74, which is 8.6. And it's closest to the distance, so we're at 7, 5, 10, and 9. So 9 would be the best answer of our choices. All right, that's it for the solutions video for your practice test. If I didn't cover something on any of the problems that didn't give you the explanation of, and you're unsure of how I got that answer, be sure to bring those to class tomorrow so we can talk about it before your test. All right, as for now, that's it. Have a good night. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.